Hello and welcome to another episode of AI Ranch. My name is Evald Surtans and welcome to the place where we explore how AI is affecting businesses and people around the world. Today I have a great guest, Ernests Štāls, who is the founder and CEO of StarWatcher and the company which scrapes, formats, process startup data and provides it to investors and connects them, and you will explain it later. But he has also founded other companies before, like Dripit and Reachly and many others, data-driven companies before, and he's also currently working at Superhero Capital as an investor side. And on top of all of that, he's also been a chairman of the board of Testjul and the founder of TechHub Riga, which are really significant organizations for driving startup ecosystem here in Latvia and Baltic. So welcome.
Happy to be here. You managed. That was a long list of stuff what I do. And usually when my parents ask what do I do, it's I don't usually go through.
The whole list, right? Yeah, I'm really pleased to meet you here and talk about your experience, because I think I guess you have the whole spectrum from the community to the startup founder to the investor, so like the whole path. So tell us about your journey, right? How did you end up founding the StarWatcher?
StarWatcher.
Yeah.
That actually is it's a pinnacle of my experience. So back in the days, I started Latvian first meetups in Latvia, Open Coffee Club, because I didn't have anyone to talk about startups. Like there was no one to talk. Like you sit.
How long it was ago?
That was 2008.
2008. Nobody talked about startups.
Those are the first meetups, and then 9, 10, who counts? But then that became like a regular meetup thing, and then it turned into TechHub, which now is Startup House, and TechHub Birthday grew into its own thing as Testjul. And I have been all along building my own companies and being on a journey, and my past has been mostly related to the machine learning and analyzing and building smart companies. Not that others are dumb, but basically over here, it's all about data and analysis and getting insights out of it. And so getting to understand the user experience, UI, when it comes to working with data, but also ETL, databases, and how to work with data. And then as I have been involved in startup ecosystem, also the investors have been around, and I have built network. And so at some point I was like, why VCs are not that data driven? And I have been kind of researching that on the side, but then 3 years ago I really doubled down on really building StarWatcher, where I thought, okay, let's get this data together. And it has been quite a journey, and actually I'm in the middle of pivot. Again, well, that's what you do at startups. When you try to find a product market fit.
What it was in the beginning, and where are you pivoting?
So the startup journey is basically to find the product market fit, and product market fit is when the product fits the market. So you start with the two hypotheses around product and the market. And I thought, well, I'm going to build something for VCs and startups. And my first version wasn't doing the job. And I was like, okay, AI came around, and I thought, well, I will use AI to connect startups and investors. And we have been exploring a lot of technologies, generative models, embeddings, and figured out how to map companies in, let's say, unified space or a knowledge graph, where we see how the companies are aligned. And that's now where the product is. But now when I look at the startups and VCs, they are not that interested in this stuff. And the reason is not that there is no value for it. But that VCs in general, it's not that much about data. It's actually about the data culture and the way how people invest money and how they think. And there is growing movement of data-driven VCs, but it's I would say it's more of a cultural journey rather than, the only thing missing is this magical tool. And there are plenty of silver bullet sellers who will claim, only thing to become data-driven, you need this. But what we see on what we discovered with the product is that, we can actually match startups and investors, but we can do so much more. Now it's possible to search companies based on the problems they solve. It's possible to look for what are the problems for a particular customer segment. What kind of problems are people solving for, let's say, young moms, or scuba divers, or mountain climbers, or any segment you can come up. And what are the business models typical for these kind of companies? So it's more of a graph, and it's useful for a lot of different kind of applications. So for example, we have some users come and they are showing example, this is our ICP. We work with these companies, they are our clients. They give that as an example, and then we show, you can look up these kind of companies also in this market. We will just show in this geography, you can check out these companies. And it's an interesting application for humans, but this infrastructure is really useful for agentic experience. Because now you can give a task for an LLM agent, go research and make an executive summary about the problem, like what are the typical business models, what kind of solutions are out there. So
that will be the pivot, right?
The pivot in this thing is we are looking on a broader market. We don't look just on the startups and investors. We look like, okay, there's in general business who actually can get value out of this.
Any companies, any services, any products, or for something more specific?
Who are using?
No, the new database, the new.
We have already a pretty decent database based on startups.
How many companies do you have?
Around 100K. What we have gathered.
And all of them startups, or?
No. Now we are growing beyond startups, but we have collected large.
Which region?
We have focused on Europe, but one of the sources is portfolio companies of VCs. So we have also companies across the globe who are doing stuff. And now we have two images on VCs. We have what they claim to be, and we have their true perspective on the portfolio.
So, but then this perspective of the portfolio, you're mentioning these vector databases, the embedding space. So when I heard this, I'm thinking there is some kind of AI models that you train on different inputs and then condense it down to this vector format, right? How do you do it for understanding, so just based on the businesses that investors invest, or do you also take some other data points from the investors?
We analyze what VCs are, like what is the public information, what VCs give out. But then another perspective is the portfolio. What are the companies?
Okay, so we'll see if this goes too technical. Because my PhD thesis was about deep metric learning, which is basically the zero-shot classification, whatever. So I'm just thinking let's try to make it as a human terms as possible.
Popular science for the listeners.
So if I'm training, let's say Apple Face ID, right? I don't have a phone where I have the phone, right? So the Apple Face ID, how it works is that I need to scan my face, and then able to recognize my face actually also by using the embeddings vectors. So, and how it works is that it has already been trained before
on faces.
On faces, on hundreds of thousands or millions of faces. And then when I enroll my face, I get this unique fingerprint or this vector.
Yep.
And then when I'm looking at the phone, it generates this unique fingerprint, looks for the distances, angles, whatever, to what is the closest one, and tells me maybe if it's acceptable range, that's me. So to train that, when I'm training this with these hundreds of thousands of faces, which are not my face before, I need to push away different faces and make closer those faces of the same person in the in this embedding space, like just mathematically, very easily. So and I know these are the similar, these are different, right? How can you do this with in investor data? You need to have like huge amount of data. You need to know how similar they are, and so on.
Actually, well, you can. The good part is that you have the models available. Embedding models are out there, and they are really general.
You're talking about text to vector, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm talking about any kind of inputs, like you're not taking in account, let's say, a specific volumes, things like that.
No.
Right. Now I understand.
Yeah, we are working with text embeddings.
All right, text embeddings. Okay.
Yes, those are text embeddings. We don't care about the visual information.
Also, text embedding is also an interesting topic. We have all of these AI agent systems for contact centers. So there's lots of text embeddings. But then what we know is that if I have, let's say, full conversation, somebody speaking on phone for 30 minutes, if I would make just one embedding of all of that, this will not be a good.
That's shit.
Yeah,
that's the problem what a lot of people solve with RAG. They try to chunk it, and that's
how do you do it?
it's really bad.
So if you would just take like huge description of investor, their portfolio, or whatever, and make this, it will not work.
It's really good question how we do it, and it's how to explain that. Basically, we look at the meaning of the companies from different kind of angles. So we make essentially what we are making smart summaries about companies and then projecting those summaries about the company.
Understood that. This is a good explanation.
It is, right?
Not bad.
Yeah, I was thinking like how to explain that, but it's about, but it's hard to do because you have to understand how to actually describe what you're looking for. Like, just give me, like...
Yeah, just make a description will not work.
That's what people do. That like, make me a summary about this company. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it kind of works, but we abandon that.
Yeah.
And so we have what I call is prompt engineering on industrial scale. So you have to test and validate and project and like look into stuff that it makes sense, that it's not just, oh, this looks good. You actually have to work, you have to be more systematic in that approach.
Yeah, I have heard there's many solutions nowadays which I think this is a valid path how they work, is that you have an expert there. Let's say you have some kind of very experienced investors, analysts, and they inject their knowledge into that prompting models to clean up the data, and then you use this cleaned up data for some decision making, right?
There are companies which are doing that. I think it's over engineering. It's more of it's complicated. But I have a podcast where I'm exploring this with data-driven VCs, like tech people in VC firms who are doing this kind of stuff. And that's the promise that we will gather. We are collecting the VC thesis in the vector space, or give agenda to some agent. And that's theory. In theory, it's really awesome. But in practice, it's actually really complicated, and that's what we are. That's why we are pivoting away, because it's not that easy from the cultural perspective and how the world works now. There is no. A lot of times there is no like single thesis, like that's how we do stuff. But there are exceptions. There are VC firms who are doing that deliberately. They focus on that. They have built ground up to do that.
Okay, so let's say from my perspective as a company with some of the products, how could they use your platform, or I would not be...
So how can you use that? You would, for example, create a list with 5 of your clients, and we would show you similar companies to those companies which clients you have, and then you can select. I'm interested in these kind of companies, but in Germany or in Spain.
And you can do that, yeah.
Yeah,
you can just
on the fly.
Change the country, region, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of like helping to do the prospecting, like kind of...
And for any company, you can open up any company, and there's Explore Space. 3 links. You can check like who else is working on this problem. And again, you see a list of companies, and you can check like, who's working on this problem in Spain,
okay,
or in Denmark.
No, I think it's...
And then you can also flip the table. Okay. Which investors are investing in this?
You can get also that information, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a graph. So we have mapped these companies in the graph.
Yeah, but 100,000 companies seems not so many, actually. So you're not yet covered the whole Europe, for sure.
Yeah, but we have been focusing on startups and investors for quite some time. And now we're flipping. But we have built an infrastructure where, for example, you don't have to have companies in our database. But one of the things we're about to launch is that you can upload the list. Let's say you go to some exhibition and you get the list of companies and you get URLs. What's the question what you have when you go to any of exhibitions?
What's the question with URL?
No, what's the question you usually have? It's like, whom should I meet? Like, I will be there. Whom should I meet, right? Well, you can upload the list and create agenda based on that list, and I will show you which companies are related to your agenda.
Yeah, that's a nice use case. I like it.
I also like it, yeah.
There must be more nice use cases, but
there are.
I'm just thinking, like, wondering, Perplexity, there's many others, these vector-based engines, which I can also do similar things. I could either give the company as a source or descriptions or any other features and keep digging up more.
But they don't have the mapping and the goal for that. They are general.
Yeah.
It's like having a specialized search engine versus just Google. And you can have like Facebook and LinkedIn. Well, it's the social network, but it's different. Actually, it's not anymore different, but it used to be different.
Used to be different.
Used to be that Instagram was for photos, Facebook were for friends, LinkedIn for colleagues. Now it's just the same. Endless stream of shit.
Like generated.
Yeah.
So, so are you aiming like in long-term vision? Is it like being a search engine like Perplexity just for businesses and investors or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's a business graph, and there is no qualitative resource for business connections. I mean business connections. There's LinkedIn for people, but then I will ask like, hey Ewald, I see you're connected with this person. Can you make an intro? And what would be the answer? What's your gut feel? If I would like just ask you, Ewald, well,
you probably not have time to do this, but
no. But usually the answer is no, because probably I'm not in a position to make an intro with this person. I don't recall.
Also don't have that close connections often.
No, it's a lot of times the quality of LinkedIn connections is poor.
They are. Yeah.
And it was 8 out of 10 people said no. Then it became like 9 out of 10, and now I think it's even worse. I have been asking this question for a lot of people, and they all say, yeah, it's just crap.
But at the same time, I've seen also a rise of many companies that do stuff on top of LinkedIn, inside LinkedIn platform, basically.
Those are sales, marketing.
No, not only for sales, but also, as you said, like discovering competitors, discovering leads.
But that's a garbage in, garbage out. That network is garbage. And so...
okay, that's a good angle where we can go. So, so how do you get your data?
We are scraping. But...
what are you scraping?
Public information.
LinkedIn garbage or something else?
Also, but here's the thing: we map the companies, so we extract value out of URL and we map it in and we put it in the context. So that's the difference.
Structurize the data as well. Structured data.
We basically, you can go and check it out, like add any company URL. Fingers crossed we can do that, that it won't gonna scrape. We are working on scraping infrastructure, but 20 seconds later, we can show you who is investing in these kind of companies, who is similar companies to this company, who is working on the problem, who is targeting the same customers. So we project it in a graph in 20 seconds, and you see the neighborhood. Well, when you go to LinkedIn, you can type in a company, and then it's like people looked also at this one, but then you don't have this context. And
no, they agreed. Like the larger they get, the kind of quality goes away as well. Like not only larger, it's more generic. It becomes for everything, right? And then
I think the language models will flip that direction.
Explain on that. What do you mean, like flip direction of
language? Well, now it's because you get more and more contextual data. So everyone has been hungry for data, but and built the databases. But those databases, like some of the conferences. Oh, Ewald, you are attending this conference. We do the matchmaking.
I can give you like an example. Like I just went to the Dubai GITEX conference. It's the largest South Asia. There, all of the countries, right? Emirates. So I literally got like 50 different types of emails where somebody was trying to sell me information about attendees, the context list, or whatever.
So that's simply the hack, because there is nothing better.
I kind of started to felt that if I would buy any of those, they probably will be just scraped, some kind of, at the best case, or worst case, just scam, you know?
And it's there are these lists out there, and there are here's the list of investors. Here are the 700, and you can go, and everyone is just like, wow, thank you for sharing. This is such a good value and stuff. Well, guess what? We analyzed those lists, and a lot of times those companies are just not existing anymore. And then those lists are made of other lists who are attending some events, and then they are pushed together. And in one of those lists, I recall I stumbled that it's the company was the investor. In investor list, there was Paris airport, one of the Paris small airports. Have no clue, but maybe they appeared in some investor get-together somewhere, and that list was just added to another, and it's like shit.
So somebody will pitch
and then you're like adding it all together, and here's the list of investors in Europe, and then you are resharing, and then it's like someone else changes the title.
So you definitely know this space, especially you're already working as a in the venture capital. So I mean, are there already like tools, alternatives of your system where you can find, let's say, active VC funds for different stages, different verticals?
They are not built for in that way. They are. So I think there's now the flip happening, that it used to be databases, and databases are, can you like add more data? And you never do that. And if you do that, you are biased. You're not creating that data on the same pattern or the same way. You don't create data. Like I would ask you to make a value proposition description of your company, and that would be your description. But now I can create, I can give an agenda to my agent, which will make these descriptions about the companies in the same way. So now they are on the same plane. And I can do that for a lot of companies and describe a lot of aspects of those companies in the same way. So even if they are wrong in the same way. Yeah. And so that allows to create much more richer databases. Where the existing ones are basically, we have data, like list of investors. And then God knows how those have been put together. And I think we will see that there's going to be flip to the knowledge graphs. But the graphs not based on graph databases per se, but more like a vector space graphs.
Okay. So have you been successful of sourcing good deals for yourself using your...
That's the joke we have with some of investors. Ernest, if you're looking for VCs, you should probably find VCs on Starwatch.
That's the thing what you're doing.
But here's the thing. And that's feedback from a couple of people who have worked also with Starwatcher. It's one thing is to find a deal, another one is to get in the deal and to get to the people. And I am in talks with some of the VCs, and I found them mostly from my direct connections, because that's one of the reasons why I'm flipping away from VCs as a direct or the first customer. Because they rely heavily still on the network.
Which will be your ideal customer now?
Well, that's what I've been researching myself. I think it could be B2B people, some more established startup companies looking for the clients.
As long as you're talking about, I'm thinking I need to try this.
So there is, and we have the same UI, UX still, but we are flipping away. And I don't think
By the way, we have tried in past all sorts of solutions. So we have been paying money to some of these larger guys who help, to buy access to some contacts, to search them, like. I will not explicitly tell my experience so that nobody gets upset, right? But on the range of like Rocket Reach, Zoom Info, and all of those things, right? So can I use your platform similar way, right?
So we still will have two types of companies. We will have investors and we will have startups, but startups are more like just companies, and startups are young companies, but we want to add more established companies. But investors are still there, because we analyzed all those investors lists. We actually have venture capital, private equity, corporate ventures. We have those also analyzed there. And
I think one of the key things is this data sources. I remember specifically one of those platforms. So it's a quite expensive platform as well. So and then they just like have the sales pitch. We have the high quality data, everything
of course, those are salespeople.
Right. We don't scrape stuff. Everything is like and then like you type in here in the Baltics, there's like this huge language company tilde. You type in tilde and then it combines in one language model text tilde from here and some kind of tilde from America, some kind of random company into one company, and then there's like super strange text about
entity matching.
They're trying to do language tasks and some kind of like production tasks, and so and it was a really bad experience. Basically, so they try to tell, we have some problems,
So what we see, what are the applications is. What people use Starwatcher now. So we have VCs who are having that for deal sourcing. So they look like, who's popping up in Latvia or Estonia? What are the new companies popping up in some geography? Then there are quick due diligence oh, I got this company, show me similar. Who else is working on this one? Like having a broad perspective, like bam. Then there's the sales outreach. Then some of the VCs are using that to look for the next stage investors for their portfolio company. So you type in, and then you're like, okay, this stage in this geography, what are the investors who invest in this kind of companies? And so those are the applications now.
So I touched a little bit the accuracy and precision, right? So how do you can measure this? Like, are you having the validation sets with everything mapped out very correctly and then accurately? Then how many of those validation companies do you have, and how do you maintain the accuracy?
Yeah. So there are many layers, the technical layers there, how to test the accuracy. And short answer is challenge.
Yeah, I imagine.
Longer answer is we use DSPY. Do you know
explain.
Yeah. Can I explain? So DSPY is library coming out of Stanford. So it's kind of prompting library without prompting. So it works on systematically that you create input, you create signatures for inputs, outputs, and then around this simple concept that there's going to be this text, and I just want like a summary. There's going to be input text and then there's summary, or there's going to be this stuff and then I need a list of something. And then around that, they have built all sorts of tools. And one of the tools is evaluation. And you have your prompt to achieve the signature. And then you can evaluate, you give examples, and then does the input-output example is similar to what you gave before in evaluation function. And then, but the evaluation can be the model, the prediction model itself. So it has this relation where you have one model evaluating another model. For example, I'm interested in good problem descriptions. Like, does this model produce good problem description?
That's one way how to evaluate. I assume that this is good way also for some prompt structuring and things like that. But then like on the final user level, like if I open if I open page, right? If I open my company, I want to see what are the most similar ones. What are the investors?
That's something where I create sets of companies.
Yes.
And then I look, like, for example, I recently created maternity company cluster. Then I have similar to Star Watcher cluster, and then I have PropTech. And now I project all those companies in one, I dump down to 3 dimensions, and now I project in one space. And then I look, and then I see 3 clouds, and then it's like, okay, it makes sense.
I understand completely about the, you can visualize the clusters, categorize, whatever. So, and there's also many interesting things you could do. It will be super technical if I start telling about like clustering without knowing how many clusters you have and whatever.
Well, that's,
So, but that's one. But I was more interested in because I tried a little bit of your product. I definitely need to go deeper from what you told. I like what you tell, but when I test some companies and I see similar companies, I see investors, right? Of course. They're not perfect, right? But there are like there should be like gold standard, right? And what is your like actual accuracy of?
Sometimes there's problem that there's lack of information. Like we cannot get out all the information, and for that, as one of the next steps is that when people claim the profile, instead of having your information scraped, we would basically have a reverse chatbot with its own agenda to collect full profile. And so that is where we already have stopped to trust VCs and startups on the way how they describe companies. We make decision. But then we can also have an agenda where it's reverse chatbot. So instead of you telling me what you do, I ask you, Hey, what's your company about? Okay, can you tell more about what kind of value it brings? What kind of technology stack you use? Here are the things what we figured out. Is that correct? And then you're like, no, I'm actually working also with these industries. Oh, okay, cool. And then we gather information and project in our way in the graph. But we don't trust you to push yourself in the graph because
because you need then structured data and the format that you can compare each other. I understand, like you don't care about marketing messages, you need the real deal. But then again, the last touch about this before we move on is that still about this data. You said yourself that in many cases there's not enough data yet. But so you mentioned also you have some access to some investor databases or something. I mean, like for your platform
we can extract the information
to be kind of like valuable, unique, rather than just looking in Perplexity, whatever. So you need to have some kind of better sources than just scraped in LinkedIn, right? You have that, or you have this as a roadmap, or where you are at this?
We have a list of investors, and we look at the investor landing pages and portfolios. If we look at the portfolios, we know what are those companies, and though that means that we have much better understanding about the investment thesis of the investors.
It's not that easy at all, because remember, I know we also have some early investors that have been a couple of years, and everything has changed. So they list something on their websites which is not anymore true. So
we don't aim for absolute truth.
Okay.
It's just better guiding.
Yeah.
And we don't have on our platform, you see the list, but it's always list of 20 companies. And if it's crappy, then change your query, change your stuff what you're looking for, and then it will become better. But it's always you're projecting your search in the graph. It's not about being perfect. And if you're querying wrong, or there are times when we are outdated on some data, sure. But our goal is to show the best match. And if someone from some page we haven't gathered the information, well, it's not our problem that they have outdated information.
Yes.
And but if we bring value to you, let's say you are in mobility field, or no, let's say you are the quantum startup, like you're a quantum startup, and you're looking for investors who invest in quantum startups. Maybe there are in Latvia VCs who would invest, but we would show you investors who are actually loud and proud about that they are investing in quantum startups. Well, it just happens that they are in France. Well, that's it. But you came for finding investors who invest in this field. We showed you. We didn't show you maybe wannabes generalists in the Baltics who also might do that, but
sure. But I just still think, and you understand that this updated information, conflicting sources. So that this
information quality is the challenge,
needs
and
to be
we know
addressed.
That, and we know that it's fixable when we will have enough traction that companies are flocking in and looking for ways how to improve their projection. Because one thing is, for example, that, well, as a VC, we have what we have figured out. Like this is we call it an investment vector. Like we have figured this out. We have your portfolio investment vector. Like what do you do? And if the similarity is like this, well, but you can also create a search. And that, in a way, if you're searching for these kind of companies, you're actually creating more than one investment thesis. You're like describing like, oh, I'm interested in this company, this company, this company. And also I like if companies do this kind of business model. And then you create another investment thesis we can match you against. So it's it's a graph game.
Are you making money, or is it all for free right now?
Yeah, we charge VCs. We are flipping also the business model more quota-based. Because we see that.
Are you offering also some custom research?
Yeah, we are open for that.
Right.
Yeah, if there are.
Sounds good. I actually like if the
we have had startups who have approached us and paid money for a good short list of investors.
That sounds reasonable. Like I mean, like you have the UX and many things you can do it yourself as well, and probably some deeper analytics is something that can be extra. And also from like all of this context before and now, like do you see already AI taking effect of the ecosystem, right? Like do every new startup is actually have AI component in it? Do you see in your system?
Right? Well, I don't see that in Star Watcher. I see that with Superhero Capital. That
with Superhero Capital, everybody is pitching AI.
Then we have like a pixie dust. Like there's AI, and
there are some funny examples where AI is not necessary at all, and somebody is dusting it.
There are some stuff, but it's
they just add it everywhere.
It's. It's everywhere, and it's a lot of times it's just
How much it is just like OpenAI GPT shells or is it also like
it kind of has changed now. It's about like it used to be shells around ChatGPT. Now it's more like no. We are more serious infrastructure around ChatGPT. So it used to be like you type something and then there's a system prompt and then it goes forward and comes back and then that's result. And now it's more like no. We built some chatbot thingy where there's a bigger infrastructure and interface and we integrate it. But still layers, it's some layers, some stuff. But it's still not. I would say people have not got. We're still in the schemorphic.
But there is something really strange happening. It's like, so maybe this is different perspective from where you are. So we as a company, we serve lots of large companies, enterprises as well, like Tele2, TED for finance and so on. So and like the larger corporations are not like that, what you just said, like everything is AI. Larger corporations still, like if you look at Eurostat last year, like surveys, they say that critical business processes in enterprises, only 8% contain AI.
But that's because the enterprises and companies you mentioned, they are not early adapters and first movers. They are late movers. For obvious reasons, they have complicated processes to actually agree on something. They have extensive security requirements, and this is wild west. So they just don't go there. That's it.
So I'm just thinking that's like real, like it's literally
selling AI started to the enterprise. It's just hype now, but it's just complicated. Because to scale the business in that market, we are not there.
I'm just saying that, like, from one perspective, you would look this is a hype. From other perspective, the larger companies are much later. Like they will come much later. So there's not yet that adoption rate at all.
And there are what happens with the AI. It's that entry level in a way what it is, it's the entry level to machine learning has dropped significantly. Like in past, for example, to classify some applications, you would hire a machine learning person which would do some machine learning magic and create classification based
hardware, the data.
And now basically it's, we can actually fine-tune small model, or even we don't have to fine-tune. We just give some examples, we prompt it, whatever. But it's doable with much less knowledge and investment. It's just doable. So a lot of times the companies which were selling to corporates for particular problem solution, they won't be around to sell that because they will solve that internally with internal resources. And that's
But when
good
you
news.
look at these companies, are you discounting them for being rappers around the
No,
OpenAI?
it's just we are just in this time of
so that's just the reality.
It's just a phase. So I think we are in. There's this term schemorphism. Schemorphism basically is when you have new technology appearing, that you use it like old technology. First, movies were like plays with static camera, and then someone figured out, whoa, you can move the camera. Whoa, minds were blown. First homepages looked like magazines. Like, what else it could be? I don't know. Like, and the web for Web 1 was just like a newspaper.
Yeah.
You would consume
paragraphs, right?
You were just consuming the content, and then, whoa, man, you can actually produce, consume. Minds were blown. And now with AI, it's just like AI is just a chatbot, right? and now we start to, and it's just a wrapper. Like, we will just wrap around the chatbot. But it's just something which is obvious for us, but it's not how the technology is going to evolve and where it's evolving. It's just the phase now that, well, we have to go through it. Every technology, we are going through this schemorphism phase.
Do you think this is similar with like crypto or previously what happened?
No, crypto is a special kid, because in crypto there are builders and gamblers. And when builders have built something cool, gamblers come in and just spoil the party for next 3 years.
Right.
And then
is it more like internet, mobile?
It's more like it's bigger. I think this is internet,
bigger
electricity.
Than internet.
Yeah. I think it's my working model is that it's a calculator. It's special kind of calculator, and when you hear that someone is saying, you won't believe what this model does, it's like that changes everything. It's like, you know what happened? We can have any kind of square in calculator. That changed everything, because now any human can do that. You can imagine that? It's like, wow. And how I tell people is that to build a rocket ship, you need a calculator. But now everyone has calculator in the pocket. Is everyone building a rocket ship? No. And these models, the AI, they don't do anything without your agenda. And anyone who has tried to build any agent or do some automatic stuff just knows that it's really hard to make an agent to do something. You can make like cool photo, you can make one task, but to make things go there, do that, pick that.
Exactly. So there is this Andrea Koparty who is, I like him very much as well. So he's been one of the first in Stanford University who actually started this new AI era.
Tesla, OpenAI.
And then also Tesla director. And he said one time in an interview that the AI agents is very similar to self-driving cars. It's very easy to make demos. It's very hard to make them in production.
I liked his. He was just. It's really easy to make a self-driving car to go around the block, but it's pretty hard to make for the self-driving car to just do anything.
Yes, but at the same time, like I would not discount self-driving cars. And like I just returned from San Francisco, Denver. I tried Waymo, which in San Francisco, like without driver lidars, worked perfectly. Except I was skeptical. Maybe they have teledriving thing, right?
They actually have more teledrivers than drivers for the normal taxis.
But I was not that.
Fake it till you make it.
At this point, I'm not sure because I thought this was the case. But then one of the friends went with Waymo, and they stuck in some kind of cemetery, and the Waymo started driving around some path like 10 times, and then they called the service, and then they said,
"Yeah, sure."
They said we cannot do this telecontrol
because they are out of reach, probably. But there was really interesting. Probably you can Google, you can find on YouTube. There was Waymo traffic jam in the parking lot. that was their parking.
Sounds funny.
Their parking lot. So they have parking lot in San Francisco, and one car couldn't pull out, and the others were just biggest
traffic jam.
And that was their own parking lot. Like cars stand there, and apparently some were returning and some were leaving, and then they basically, for the human, it would just totally make sense. I will just back off and you will get out. And then they are like starting to it was, and someone was filming from their apartment like this is the future. And they are like not hitting each other, but they're
I know, I can imagine. But at the same time, like just returning back to that this is actually reality. It seems to be working quite well. Also, I was super surprised and like.
But it took 10 years, and the agents probably it's the same. And one of the things is, I think that the world expects to have this one big thing which will know everything about anything. But in reality, it's more of us being able to communicate well, really small, specific things. Like what we do at StarWatcher, we are actually doing something really simple. We look at the companies and look very specifically how we analyze each company on different kind of dimensions. How you charge clients. Like that's it. You have one task only. Give me answer. Mm-hmm. And then we give examples and everything around that. But it's really simple task. It's not like
do anything.
This is like company, show me these kind of companies in Germany. We don't do that, but that's the user experience or the way how people perceive the technology. And one of the problems there is that it has been promoted as AI. You know what AI means? It means that it's something super, super crazy complex, and I don't have to understand that. But as in everything, kids learn physics. If you don't learn physics, then the world will be full of miracles and surprises. And it's the same with AI. Like there are people who are selling that stuff without the clue how it actually works. Like what's the magic? It's just, it's AI. It's AI. No questions asked. It's just, AI. But and the concepts are not complex there. It's just tokens, words, like in what it has figured out. What's the sequence there? Just like that.
As you mentioned before about the phase that we go through,
we have to go really into more shit like that.
As you might know, I've been working with AI models for, let's say, 10 plus years, right? So I believe I've seen the rise and where we are with the language models, right? And some generative models. I'm just thinking that the end productive goal will be not just language model, not just embedding models, but there will be many of the pieces that were used before those, put all of this together, and then it will make sense probably. So we'll come back to that time where you told before that I need these very smart engineers and things like that, but this will be cheaper, faster, because now we have a Cursor or whatever, all of these AI nice tools, GitHub Copilot.
What happens is that I have publicized 2 blog posts, and I have third one about the agents coming up. But basically, what happens is there's division of creative work. So it used to be that to build a website, you have to know how to build websites, and you have to have an idea about the website. An idea and execution is the result. Now there's division. I need a website. It can be crappy. It has to be good enough. And now you can get good enough result without the knowledge. So that sets free a lot of people who have an idea from they don't need someone to build it. They can get it quickly.
Yep, the website, the logos, designs.
Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of stuff which is 6, 7, good enough.
Yes, exactly.
But when you want to go past that, you need a human who actually understands it. Yeah. And that's a different kind of game. But those people who understand, they can take on much more complex tasks.
Yeah, faster
like for me,
and complex.
For me, I had synchronous scripts for iterating over stuff. And I knew that I have to rewrite that to asynchronous stuff. And I knew that I don't know a shit about that.
Select, cursor.
And it's complex, it's weird. And then I got one conversation with ChatGPT at the time, and then it was like, okay,
have you tried cursor?
Yeah, I have
tried.
Select,
make it asynchronous.
and that's something you just pick up on much more complex tasks. For example, now this week I'm building Celery Redis pipeline for the tasks to make it really robust and scalable scraping analytic pipeline. Some year ago, no way. That's just like above my skill level. Now, I just trust that we will figure out with my two friends, ChatGPT and Claude.
Yeah, so towards the end, like, what are your tools that you use daily? Like, because a lot of people actually, when I go around and talk, like, they really don't know that there are so many great like tools, not just ChatGPT, right? So
I don't actually use that much. I use Claude. I use ChatGPT. I recently have started to use Cursor.
Yes.
Because I used VS Code, and.
By the way, people who are not programmers, like any person could actually use Cursor in.
Yes. And actually, one of the things what I have seen in two different kind of contexts, and I think where people who are not coders, why they can succeed more with Cursor, is that when you code or I code something, and then we ask about our code to the AI, we are asking about our token flow, and our token flow is our token flow. Like we ask about this piece. But that person has generated, like the people who don't know coding, they just use Cursor and then they ask, like, generate me something. They are asking actually about the stuff what that machine understands, because that has generated that.
Yeah, they understand better that.
Yeah, and here's the fun stuff from my industrial level prompting experience. So I built a prompt, and I'm building prompt with chat, and then I saw, I don't like this result, and then I changed something, and then I did prompting again, and it came back in Japanese, and I was like, that's interesting, and then I checked, I'm analyzing actually Japanese VC, but my disruption in the prompt, where I introduced something new, set off that it didn't translate automatically, but actually produced it in Japanese. And I think in in that multi-space, language output is just a couple dimensions out of those 1,000 dimensions.
Sure, but it's like, I can give you another use case which maybe you thought of it. And again, this is not about programming. So any, like, let's say administration tasks, project management, like test written tasks, whatever, you could if you understand what is markdown format, right? Because there must be such a tool for Word coming, right? Like for word processors, must something like that.
I use Obsidian.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but I'm just saying that the same functionality, somebody is right now working on that for the Word document.
Yeah.
But basically you take this text document, which is not programming code, text document. So, and you can start generating, let's say, some kind of project proposal, like whatever. You select things, you say, I need to change it in that way.
Yeah, someone will use.
It's like super powerful.
So I don't, let's say I don't have many fancy tools, but the tools I use, the result is in a way fancy. So I use VS Code with notebooks, and then I have my Obsidian notes, and then I explore some topics with the chat, and then I ask to give me a plot on the graph on my idea, and then I plot it in the notebook, which would be complicated if I would do that on my own. I'm just like, let's imagine if we are exploring this kind of topic and relationship between this and that, and what could be different kind of demographics which live in these kind of three-dimensional space. What would be the person which will have low on this one, high on this one, and can we plot that in 3 dimensions? And then it gives me a plot, and I add it to the notebook, and it's like, bam, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. I can, like there's lots of things like that happening. So the last question, like what kind of tool you would like somebody to build for you?
Actually, that is the I was thinking the other day that Obsidian note-taking with ability to generate graphs and save Obsidian
already generates graphs.
Yeah, but like like
you
having
want
a notebook
automatically generate.
No, like having a notebook cell where I generate some Plotly graphs and having saved conversations there. Because I explore topics with AI. Sometimes I just go on like, let's explore this kind of topic. Like, what's the relationship between time, money, and risk? Who are the people who have time? Who are the people who have money? What are their relationship between themselves, and like what is the risk taking? And then you plot and explore that space with demographics and look at that. And it's hard to do that when you're missing some piece of that information. Like you don't know how to plot that information, then it becomes like really theoretical stuff. But if you don't have an idea and you have the notebook thing, then again, you can do a lot of stuff with notebooks, but if you don't have the context. And then the AI helps to explore that idea pretty fast. So I need all three stuff. I'm just now mixing.
So somebody could build Ernest such a tool.
There's gonna be. I think it's just. I actually have a video where someone is about Obsidian notebook something like AI changes Obsidian notebook stuff, whatever.
They should add. They also have.
They have Obsidian have
subscription there as well for their servers.
Obsidian has some LLM.
But they should add.
They have. Text generation, I think.
I believe they should also add, like, generate these, tags, whatever, how they call them, that connects graphs, right? You need to enter them manually right now. They should generate those.
But I'm a builder. So what I do, I build stuff for myself. So that's what my vision is, to have a knowledge graph around businesses where you can plot any business in it and you can see surrounding.
Should be such an extensions as well, but great. So I like okay, not many people probably will relate with this, but those of you who are confused now, so some of these tools are really good. Even if you're not
the words came. People just like, what were those names?
So it's a blank picture, right? But it's there are really like. like everybody nowadays know how to use Microsoft Word. Like in a few years, people will be using stuff like that on daily basis, even if they are not computer programmers. This will be easier than Word. So so great to having you here. Yes, all the best luck with Star Watcher. I will start using it more. Previously, I was just looking from the sides, but it seems that there are value for me as well. So, and let's do it another time. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. So thank you for watching this episode. As a gratitude for our work, please consider to subscribe, like, share, and see you in the next one.